Hello, I'm Brian. This is my photo show. Welcome. When we talk about the digital takeover from film, there are two dates which I believe are significant. First, in 2004, the sale of film scanners peaked and declined rapidly thereafter. By 2006, Nikon had discontinued all of its film cameras except two, the F6 and the FM10, their top model and their bottom model. Everything else was gutted, discontinued in 2006. These two dates, in my opinion, are fairly reliable guideposts or signposts to indicate exactly when digital took over from film. Essentially what happened during this period was that 6 megapixel DSLRs became accessible to the professional and were producing image quality that was good enough for your basic wedding. So what did film processing look on the eve of the digital takeover? The other day I ran across this box of prints and negatives which I had developed in the summer of 2003 on the eve of the digital takeover. What did photo processing look like back then? Let's take a look at this little time capsule. So here, first of all, the first significant thing you're going to see is this box was printed by Ritz Camera. Ritz Camera was one of the large national chains in the United States at that time which processed film and made prints for the consumer. The slogan here says camera store quality. Well, why would it say camera store quality? Isn't Ritz a camera store? Well, not really. Ritz was a photo shop. That's where Adobe got the name Photoshop. Adobe did not invent the word Photoshop. It came from places like Ritz Camera, which were called Photoshops back then. The camera store was where the professionals went to buy their latest Nikons or what have you, or Hasselblads or whatnot. So when Ritz is saying camera store quality, they're essentially suggesting that, hey, we're giving you something just as good as the professionals. May or may not have been true, but that was the slogan you see on the box. So that's what that means. So we open the box, and the first thing we see are obviously the prints. So here are the prints that I got back in the summer of 2003. I decided to sell my beloved Pontiac GTO, so I drove to the park with my Canon AT1, probably a 50mm f1.8 lens, and a roll of Kodak Gold 100, and I shot these pictures. So then I took the pictures to get developed and got these 4x6 prints back. They look a little overexposed, but I'm not sure if that's that's a printer fault or if that's a negative fault. These are 4x6 prints that were just spat out of the processing machine, given the technology of the time, and they're pretty good. Not bad prints. Well, what else did you get besides the prints? Well, naturally you also got the negatives. The next item in the box obviously is the negatives, which would come out in a sleeve looking like this, which is pretty much what negative sleeves still look like. If you get your images processed, a lot of places still use sleeves like this. And let's see here. I still have the receipt. So here, if we take a look at the receipt, we can see that on August 5th, 2003, I paid $10.39 for 1 hour processing, although I did not get them back in 1 hour because I also purchased floppy disk service for $4.99. So for $5, I got a floppy disk. And here is the floppy disk. I would get the floppy disk, looks like this. Here we go. So here's my floppy, which came in this sleeve. And this is where the images were scanned as JPEGs onto this disk. In all likelihood, this was done with a pack-on. I can't look at the EXIF data because I no longer own a computer capable of accepting a disk like this. So I can't tell you much about the images. I do know they were JPEGs. I doubt they were particularly high resolution. And it came like this. Now this is significant. I want to point something out. Take a look at the disc sleeve. The disc sleeve has a name, Ritz and Wolf. Wolf camera, Ritz camera. Well, why? Why two names? Wolf camera was the successor to Fox Photo. And in the 70s and 80s, Ritz and Fox were the two big consumer-oriented photo processing companies. They had thousands of branches throughout the country. And by 2003, they consolidated. They consolidated because even by that time, there were available to the consumer point-and-shoot digital cameras. They were terrible. I mean, they were like 3 megapixels with horrible shutter delay, but they were there, and and people bought them and used them because it was much more convenient than film. And so even by 2003, there was less film being processed, and these two companies felt the need to consolidate in order to stay in business. That's almost as if Ford and Chevy consolidated, or Toyota and Nissan consolidated. It was that much of a big deal. It was really an earth-shaking event when these two companies made the decision that they could no longer survive independently. That was a big, big sign of what was to come for anybody who was paying attention. In addition, I got this neat little printout showing, here we go, check this out. So I got this little printout here with little miniature prints of my images, and I'm supposed to cut this and fold it and put it in the sleeve, so I remember which images I've got on this disc. It's just sort of a little extra thing that the photo processing shops were trying to give to keep people coming back to film, to sort of add value to their service, because they realized by this time film's going the way of the dinosaur. It was pretty obvious, and everybody knew it was coming. Here on the back, picture the possibilities. Upload your digital images at ritzpix.com or printawolf.com, where you can share, where you can share pictures, order prints, send email, postcards, design great gifts, and so much more. All here online. We can even archive your images for safekeeping. So the Wolf and Ritz were trying desperately to stay relevant. Here, ritzpix.com, wolf.com. These are they'd consolidated. There's less film being developed, and they're desperately trying to think of ways to stay in business. Here, look, you can get your pictures printed on a mouse pad. You can get them printed on a coffee cup. All sorts of neat stuff. Basically, they're saying, look, we're not irrelevant. We're not irrelevant. We are relevant to the information age. We are relevant in the 21st century. Please do not abandon film. We all saw how that worked out. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this little blast from the past. A bit of a time capsule from the eve of the digital takeover. Sometimes, in order to understand where you are, you got to look back and see where you've been. So that's where we were just over 15 years ago. Hope you found this informative, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.